All right, so reducing the risk of breast cancer. Huh?
Hmm.
It's something we all think about, and you've brought some really interesting stuff to the table today.
Absolutely. And this article, it really dives deep into the lifestyle choices and dietary changes we can make.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest, right? But that's what we're here for.
Exactly. Let's break it down.
Sounds good to me. So, first things first, one of the things that really struck me was, this statistic from Dr. Nicole Safier. She says 1 in 8 women in the U.S. will be affected by breast cancer.
Wow. Yeah.
When you hear that, it really hits home.
It does, and it reminds us why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, totally, totally. So the article talks about how there are some risk factors you just can't change. Being a woman, obviously,
Right.
getting older, genetics, those kinds of things. But then it gets really interesting because it starts talking about the things we can control.
That we have power over.
Like our lifestyle, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Things like, well, it even mentions toxins in processed foods and chemicals and personal care products as risk factors.
It's kind of scary when you think about it.
It is, but it's also empowering.
Yeah.
Because once you know, you can make different choices.
Exactly. So let's talk about those choices. What were some of the actionable steps that stood out to you?
Well, it's funny because they seem so simple, but we're also busy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things like choosing healthy snacks, like how often do we just grab whatever's convenient?
Oh, all the time.
Right. And then incorporating more walks into your day, just getting up and moving, even if it's just for a few minutes at a time.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then sleep. Prioritizing sleep.
Oh my gosh, sleep is so important. I feel like we all underestimate that one.
So important. And these things, they seem small, but they all contribute to a larger picture of health, right?
Building a foundation.
Exactly.
And a strong foundation helps you with everything. And you know what else I thought was really interesting? This whole thing about breastfeeding.
Oh, yeah.
The article talks about how for every year that a woman breastfeeds, her risk of breast cancer can decrease by over 4%.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's huge. It makes you realize how powerful those lifestyle choices can be.
It really is. And of course, the article also highlights things like, maintaining a healthy weight, which is always easier said than done, but
Always.
limiting alcohol and, of course, not smoking.
Oh, yeah. No smoking. That goes without saying, right?
Absolutely.
So we've talked about lifestyle changes, but now let's get to the good stuff.
Oh, yes.
The food.
Food, everyone's favorite subject.
Right. Because this article highlights 5 specific foods that can actually help reduce the risk of breast cancer.
Yes. And they're not exotic or anything, but they're things you can easily incorporate into your diet.
Okay, so hit me with it. What are they?
All right, so we've got spinach,
Spinach, okay.
garlic,
Love garlic.
blueberries,
Delicious.
lemon,
One of my favorites.
and turmeric.
Turmeric. It's like the spice of life.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down. What's so special about spinach?
Well, spinach, like a lot of dark leafy greens, is packed with these things called carotenoids. And studies have shown that carotenoids are linked to a reduced risk of breast cancer.
Interesting. So it's not just about getting your greens, it's about the specific things in those greens that are doing good things for your body.
Exactly.
What about garlic?
Garlic is really fascinating because it contains compounds that scientists believe can actually slow down or even stop the growth of cancer cells.
Get out of here. Garlic. That's amazing.
It really is, and some studies suggest it might be particularly helpful against breast cancer.
I love that. Okay, blueberries. Those are like little antioxidant powerhouses, right?
They are. They're full of antioxidants, but they also contain these specific compounds that seem to target those more aggressive types of breast cancer.
Wow. So it's not just about preventing any kind of breast cancer, it's about potentially preventing those really aggressive types.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what the research is suggesting.
That's amazing. Okay, salmon. I love a good salmon dinner. What is it about salmon that makes it so good for us in this context?
Well, salmon is a great source of omega-3 fatty acids.
Ah, omega-3s. We hear a lot about those.
We do. And there was a study, and this is huge, it involved almost 1 million women.
Wow.
And it showed that the women who ate fatty fish, like salmon, regularly, had a 14% lower risk of developing breast cancer.
14%. That's incredible. That's huge. Okay, turmeric. That's the spice that everyone's talking about these days.
Oh, it's in everything. And you know what? It deserves some of that hype.
What makes it so special?
Well, it's known for its anti-inflammatory properties, right?
Yeah.
And inflammation plays a role in so many chronic diseases, including cancer.
Right.
But it also has this compound called curcumin.
Curcumin, yeah.
And research suggests that curcumin might also play a role in preventing breast cancer by interfering with the growth of cancer cells.
So it's like a double whammy. Anti-inflammatory and potentially anti-cancer.
Exactly. It's
R-
pretty amazing stuff.
This has been so interesting. I love how this article really breaks down these really complex ideas into manageable steps. It's not overwhelming, it's empowering.
I agree. It's about knowledge and taking action, right?
Exactly. So, if you're listening to this and you're feeling inspired, remember, this
Mhm.
is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more information out there.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in diving deeper, the article mentions Dr. Safier and the American Cancer Society.
Great resources.
Yeah, those might be great places to start. Do your own research, talk to your doctor, and remember, knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Thank you so much for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. It's always great to talk about this important topic.
And thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey to a healthier life.